Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. Today I'll be reading A Kyojuro X Reader by Dude and Duchess on Tumblr. So let's get into it. Ryan could hear screaming from a block away, which already raised her hackles. But word was followed by a huge commotion. She instantly picked up the pace, only to come to a sight that made her blood freeze in her veins. Sindra was already knocked down to the ground, with Kyojuro already assisting the blow that their father had most likely dealt to the young boy's face. She loved Kyojuro a lot, and she loved his brother much like her own, but she hated the fact that he wouldn't lift a hand against his father to defend either of them. He just took Shinjiro's abusive words and actions with that enduring expression on his face. It hurt her so much and broke her heart that every time the Rengoku brothers would go to stay at her own home would be just as a means to escape. And that was the last straw. The young woman found herself charging forward, not drawing her sword, but merely balling her hands into fists. Before she reared her arm back and landed a blow to the unsuspected former Hashira's face. "You absolute bastard!" Mine shouted angrily, as her chest heaved forcefully, what with all the ragged intakes of breath that she was trying to tame. She wasn't just angry, no. She was enraged. And it was for good reason, too. Her anger and the emotions she displayed were just too much. And it could have been compared to an overflowing pot of water. Over time, her feelings of resentment and hate towards her lover's father had accumulated until everything overflowed and spilled out into a downright mess. What kind of father are you? The Snow Hashira practically shrieked in her anger, yet she kept on going. Her emotions needed an outlet, and what better outlet than the source itself? You're going to deal with this, because never in your life had you thought that you could ever hit another person out of spite. But Rengoku Shinjiro proved you wrong completely. So of course, he just had to get on your nerves like that, instead of simply being a better father. Every time Kyojo would confide in her about his father's harsh words, and how he would smile each time he used one dagger after another to her already bleeding heart, it hurt her. It hurt her that the kindest man she knew alive was hurting by his own father. Anyone could see that he was clearly hurt by the way his father treated him and his brother. Yet, Kyojuro never raised his voice nor his hand to defend them, not even himself. He said that it was about respect, and she understood that, but she had lost all respect for the old man long ago. Not that she had much for him to begin with. It was about 2 years before, when Kyojuro was a newly appointed Hashira, that he came to her in the middle of the night. There were tears in his eyes, which he refused to shed. But once he was safely cradled in her arms, the dam had broke. He had cried so much that night as he took comfort in his lover's touch. And that showed Wayan that despite how Kyojo would go on about keeping his heart ablaze, he was still human and very much susceptible to human emotions. After all, no one, no matter what, could be strong for everyone all the time, and Kyojo was no different. No damn parent in the world should ever hurt their child. She screeched and ducked out of the way when Chandra aimed a backhanded slap at her. However, she was faster, so she immediately wrapped an arm around the back of his neck and pulled him down in a chokehold. Normally, she was so serene and all smiles, but seeing Senjuro get ahead dragged something out of her, a protective instinct which she herself had not even known she had. As it was, she was running purely on adrenaline, and she had no doubt that in a normal situation, she would have already been eating dirt. How would you like if he kept hitting you, huh? You damn good for nothing deadbeat bastard. Her words kept rising in pitch and volume, until the last word, where she had to take a huge gulp of breath after. Don't you ever hurt Sindra again. And don't you dare say such hurtful things to Kyojuro, or I really will beat the crap out of you. However, instead of thrashing around to get free from her grip, the patriarch succumbed to his fate with a renewed sense of admiration for his eldest son's lover. He had always thought that she was too weak, without a backbone, yet she had just proven him wrong. But he wasn't happy about the way she did it, though. And from across the yard, Kyojuro helped his brother from the ground, dusted him off, before making his way towards the love of his life. The closer he got to her, the wider his smile became, until he was grinning from ear to ear when he was but a few feet away from her. As much as I love you, Ayan, please let my father go, he implored with a chuckle, which made the young woman realize that she still had Shinjiro tucked beneath her arm. Immediately, she let him go and stepped backward to give him some space. But it was unneeded. It he simply narrowed his eyes at her and made his exit. Kyojuro had been waiting for the right moment, but when he saw just how violently Wayan had stood up for him, he knew that he couldn't wait for much longer. She looked so much like a goddess when she sprang into action that he couldn't help but replay her entrance over and over in his mind. But his love for her transcended her physical qualities. He was more in love with how she didn't even hesitate to try and take down a man much larger and much stronger than her. Also, she could defend him and his brother. If that was not the perfect fight for him, then he didn't know what was. So, the flame Hashira began, then lifted his hand to scratch his cheek. Would this be a bad time to ask you to get married?